Holy shit! All of them in one room. Look at this.
Fast. We're kind of
Yeah, we're in a very confined space right now, but it's okay.
out with the hall.
That's
Yeah.
that's all right.
Or,
Hopefully everybody showered today, so that way it's not too bad.
I did. I just
don't
did.
take it too bad. I got my phone on. There's barely. Yeah.
Right, right on time.
Awesome. That's yeah, you guys are punctual too, so that's another plus. Man, this is great. Thank you for doing this. I've been wanting to talk to you guys ever since. I don't know which one of you contacted me and sent me your stuff.
That was me. I'm Alan. Yeah,
Alan.
I'm a guitarist.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't know you guys prior to that, but the kind of music that you do is stuff that I enjoy. But like it's one of those things where I get sent a lot of music from newer bands. And unfortunately for me, I would say at least 90% of it isn't necessarily bad. It's just nothing that I'm excited to go tell everybody about.
Right.
But I was impressed with the fact that the first thing that I thought was like, this music could be music that like came out in like 88 that I'm hearing right now. And so that immediately made me like, go to your profile and be like, oh, and they're younger dudes too. So this is like, it's like for me, that's the real deal, because I feel like a lot of like the bands that were doing it back in the day that are still around today, some of them are still very, very talented people. But I think when it comes to making the music, there's some sort of energy that's not quite there anymore. And so I think it's really important for there to be this young energy to really make that shit work, especially when you're talking about the music where it's like the 80s hard rock, but it's still very melodic, but it has the riffs with the guitars turned up, which is my favorite shit from back then. So I immediately was just like, I got to talk to these guys, and I've been playing your stuff on Old Head Radio, and I've gotten some good feedback about the few songs that I play on. Yeah. So it's great to meet you guys and talk to you guys, but because I know basically nothing about you guys, we need to go all the way back to the beginning, and I'm interested in knowing when and how this band started.
This is a long story.
Yeah, so I can kind of start with that. So I started. Do you want me to start like from scratch, like scratch?
Hell yeah! No, not from when you were born, but from when you.
Okay.
From when
When a mom and dad love each other very much,
Like,
Alan comes out.
Yeah, so I was just starting my senior year in high school, and I started like a guitar page where I just wanted to, post and like, maybe kids at school see this and like, something new about me. I didn't really talk about it that much, but I just like I wanted to start posting and putting myself out there because like I knew I wanted to do something with music and I wanted to get attention for it, but I didn't know how to do it because I didn't know anybody else that liked the kind of music that I did, and I didn't know really much other musicians and like that did the kind of music that I did. So I was like, I guess I'll just start posting. Maybe I'll meet somebody or whatever, or somebody will contact me or whatever. I don't know, just for fun at first. And this other kid, his name, he was the original. Okay, so he also went to my high school. He's a year younger than me. He also started doing the same thing. And he reached out to me. He's like, hey, I see you like this and that. I had like a Dokken cover or something on my page. And he was like, I met this drummer that digs that same kind of music. And I was like, oh, shoot, awesome. And I was in like a grunge band at the time. We were doing like, I don't know, just I don't know. I was trying to just play, jam with people, and
Yeah.
that's what I ended up falling into, and it was fun. But I was like, I want to like be able to do what I want to do on guitar, and the kid reached out to me, and I didn't really know him, but I was like, okay, sure, let's put something together because he was sending me like I was like, this is a drummer. He's like, oh, he looks like he's I don't know. The image was like kind of building itself, and I was like, oh, that seems interesting. I want to try that. And so we all practice, like we all meet up, and the drummer, so he's the original drummer. His name was Jameson, and he is like we practice there, like the Oxford area, like where we used to practice. And he was a year older than me. We were all around the same age. We started practicing. We started kind of building together our lineup, but we didn't have anywhere to play. And we were like, well, what are we going to do? And we kind of just practiced for like 6 months, just trying to like look out, because we didn't know anything about like the venues in the area, because we're like, what, like 45 minutes out from Detroit. So like we're kind of like in the middle of nowhere. Where we are now, we're like it's like a lot more city. But where we used to practice, it was like middle of nowhere. And where I'm from. And we were like, well, what are we gonna do? And I was like, let's like throw some parties together and just start, like, I don't know, just throw something where you can play live. But we didn't know anything about where to play live. So we were just let's start throwing stuff together. And we ended up doing like some party shows in my backyard, and that's when people started to know about us. And yeah, so for a while, none of these guys are actually in the band. I'm really like the only one that's like been there since like the scratch, the very beginning. When we started doing those party shows, that's when we got Christian. This is
originally on bass.
Yeah, he was on bass. And then a little bit later on, we got Paul, because our other bassist went off to Purdue to do school stuff. So yeah, Paul hopped on bass. Paul's been with us for like, what, 2 years too now?
I think 3.
3, yeah, almost 3. 3 now, right? Yeah. And then a little bit later on, we went to go see this other band in the area that was doing the same kind of stuff. This is once we found out about the venues in the area. Finally, there's venues in the area. And we went to go see a band that Sterling was in. And this was like, they were relatively new, and they were doing this same kind of stuff, like a little bit different, but they were doing like same energy kind of stuff as us. And we were like, oh, that guy's great. And we didn't have a singer at the time, because at this point we had I don't know if you looked into it at all. So our old singer, he went off to do stuff with Firehouse. He's in Firehouse now.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's kind of random. He was on American Idol, and he like
holy
we got
shit.
Put on,
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I kind of jumped a little bit.
Does he sing on the first album? Is he singing on the first album?
He's on
Chain Reaction. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we found him on TikTok. He had like a huge following, and we didn't know where he was from initially. Like, he posted like a Dokken cover, a lot of Dokken. I don't know, that's what we all love. But yeah. So he posted a cover. We didn't know he was from Michigan, and then our old drummer, found out that he was from Michigan. We're like, oh, let's give it a shot. Let's see what he says. And he ended up responding, and we had him in the band for like a year. But he got the opportunity because he had a pretty good following on social media to get on American Idol and do some stuff. And he got on there. He got a lot of attention from like like Don Dokken reposted him on his like Instagram and a couple of other things. I forgot. There was a lot of attention going on with what he covered. He covered a Dokken.
Was looking at our stuff.
Yeah. He covered a Dokken song on American Idol. I don't know if you. It was kind of crazy. It was kind of cool.
Wow. I haven't. I honestly, I don't think I've watched American Idol since around 2010, and so I wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah, we did. We only knew because he was getting on there, but there was a lot of like stuff that we were getting because of that. We were getting some attention for that, and so he did that, and then shortly after he left because he got an opportunity with like the American Idol stuff, and then he was doing that for a little bit, and then that's when Firehouse reached out to him to sub in for CJ while he was getting that surgery, which we all know it's now. Unfortunately, but yeah, so Nate's been filling in for like the past 6 months, and
he's probably gonna be the replacement. Like,
I mean,
I'm sure of it.
I guess we'll find out soon, but yeah,
he's having fun up there, dude. It looks cool. They're playing like decent shows that actually have like a crowd there. Like whoever's promoting them is doing like.
But yeah, Firehouse has been drawing for a long time. But,
well, I feel like a lot of those bands are pretty smart too, because they put together a good package of bands to go see, and so it brings out more people. Yeah.
Normally you'll see it's like Firehouse, Warren, and Slaughter. That's like the big trio that I've been seeing around.
Yeah.
So he went off to do that. He's still doing that. You know, it's very well deserved. You know, he's a great singer, and happy for him. But that's when we went and found out about this guy, and he was on Late Attraction, and this is that was the album we released, Late Attraction, and we made it on this YouTube channel. Like it's called like New Wave of Traditional Heavy Metal.
I follow that one.
Yeah.
So they posted our album, and that's at like 35,000 views now. But we got like a ton of attention for that, and like that was kind of like Chain Reaction was kind of like our Rat EP, where it's like, oh, you know, we just used that to kind of toss it around, and you know, people find out about us, and then it was nice that we released Late Attraction. We got some attention for that, and we feel like once we got Sterling and the other guys in the band, it's just like, okay, this is like our lineup, you know, and we're happy that that was the album that got the attention. I mean, obviously we would have appreciated any attention, but we feel really locked in now, and we're happy that that was the album that got the attention.
Yeah, and so the thing that you don't really mention is that, so if you're talking about, like, you put out the first one in 2022 and then the second one in 2023, so that means that like the beginnings of this band were all pandemic time, right?
Well, when we first played, that's kind of what was the struggle when we first started. We started in 2019,
right?
No.
That's unwanted, not wanted.
No. We started in 21.
Okay.
In the summer of 21, so it was like late 2021, and then we didn't. It was still kind of like, oh, you know, there's some like different variants going on, so nobody wanted to do anything. But like once that was kind of the problem, is like we didn't know where to play. I mean, it was kind of over by then, but we were still in that mindset. You know, everybody was still, you know, watching out for each other, and so.
It's funny that the first show that they actually got, like, at a venue, they came to see me playing with this absolute laugh of a band. I'm not even gonna mention it. I was having a good time though, because I was younger. I was like 16, 17 when I got into the music scene. So I was like singing with this band after I got out of a Metallica tribute band, because I was playing drums for that. And it was fun, but I didn't want to play Lars's shit anymore. I was tired of it. And then after that, I was like talking to the venue manager guy that like books shows, this like dude, this bald guy that like rips people off. I was like, you know, there's this band, they're pretty fucking cool, you know, you should book them for the next show where it's like, you know, 80s kind of stuff. They're right up that alley. And then sure enough, like not even a month later, they had like a headlining show at this venue that I play at, and I was like, oh, let's go. So like I went and I saw the show, and I made the connections, and like I was just, you know, talking to everybody. And I remember it was after that I was like, man, I wish I was in that band. The band I'm in right now sucks so much. Luckily they made the decision easy enough for me. They kicked me out because I wasn't good enough apparently. And then the guy that was drumming became the singer, and now he sings like this.
Okay.
He's just a little bit, but so basically, I don't even know what were we on about.
They got the show and it was awesome, and then after that, we always get, you know, offerings and stuff for shows when like Mike Tramp comes around. We do the shows with them at the Diesel, and whenever Trickster came by, that was actually
that was like our first venue show. Yeah. What were we talking? Let's go back to what we were at. What did he ask originally?
Oh, it wasn't really a question. It was just mentioning that the pandemic would have been happening around the time.
So that's what I was trying to make sure.
We can move on from that.
Maybe talk about Chris, because Chris is
a
new member.
Chris was he met these guys at a Dawkins show, and
July 22 at Woodhaven, Michigan. They were playing a fair, and it was Lynch Mob Dawkins. And Alan, actually, we were both wearing the same tooth and nail shirt. And then we were all talking to John Levin after the show, and my girl and I were leaving, and then they came running up wanting to talk to me. They got my autograph. But they all talking. They just said that they just released an album.
Yeah.
And so I got their card, and then like a couple weeks later, I listened to their shit, and I was like, damn, like, man, these guys are good. You know, it's rare to find other young people that are actually good at something, you know, like play it authentic, you know, whatever. So they came across as the real deal. So I was like, man, these guys are sweet, you know.
Yeah, but Chris,
yeah,
go ahead.
And they actually, yeah, Sterling and I were jamming together. They recommended Sterling to me.
Yeah, they texted me. They're like, dude, this guy is looking for a singer, and
it was just
he looks cool.
Strange events, and it worked out. It was cool, you know. And then I had to get surgery on my ankle, and things were kind of dissolving in that band. And Sterling started playing with these guys, and now that I'm healed up, you know, and the bands I was playing with kind of went their ways, and then they asked me, and it just kind of like worked out. You know, they were getting rid of somebody, and then they wanted to upgrade real quick, and it worked out.
Nice.
Yeah, that came very full circle, which is actually pretty rad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at that point, since you guys are getting shows with a lot of these, you know, well-known older bands, and really like the sound, like it's so funny because like the first time I listened to a bunch of your stuff, the two bands that were in my brain were Dawkins and White Lion, and I was like. And so I go and I can see in your posts and your T-shirts and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, they're into those bands. But that brings me to like my next question, which is how do you? Because I'm assuming you all were born, I don't know, late '90s, early 2000s when you were all born.
Yeah, early 2000s.
Yeah. So how?
Chris is
95.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. So the question is like, how do you guys find your way into really being into that kind of music so much so that you want to make that kind of music?
I decided in '99 when I was 4, looking at the back of Dawkins albums, that's what I wanted to do.
Whose Dawkins albums were they though? '99? How did you find? What?
My dad. You know,
oh, okay. Okay.
Back of Tooth and Nail and like Beat from the East and even Rat too. I remember hearing Wanted Man, you know, like a real young kid.
I got an old flick of him.
So it's just like, man, you know, they look kind of goofy, but their hair's badass, you know, and like they look cool. Music makes you feel cool, you know.
Chris when he was 15, bro.
Nice.
I don't know if I can get the focus, but
no, you can see he's got the Beast from the East shirt on there.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's hilarious.
But yeah, Chris, that was when I first started listening to this stuff. My parents didn't like I don't want to say that they didn't like it, but both of my parents are from Mexico, and they grew up listening to completely different stuff, and so I didn't really have any backing in like kind of like rock, and my brother started playing guitar, and I was like, kind of, I was playing like, I wasn't really doing much. I was playing piano back then. I was like, you know, just for fun. My brother started playing guitar, and he had it was some game, not Guitar Hero, but it's Rocksmith. Yeah, it's like where you learn how to play actual guitar. Yeah. And he started playing. There was like how to play Round and Round on there.
Oh,
like it was like I don't know. And he started learning that, and I remember everything because there was like Boston songs on there, and I think there was like a Bon Jovi song on there, and I liked that stuff. But when he started playing like Round and Round, that's what kind of caught my ear. And then like a few months later, I picked up guitar, and that was like 10 years ago. So I've been playing guitar for, you know, I think this summer it'll be 10 years, and it's just been it built off of that, you know, just. My brother kind of discovered some music, and then I was like, oh, that's some cool stuff. And he kind of started me off on all that stuff, and I've stuck, you know, since then. So I really started getting into all that other stuff, like all the more obscure bands once I got into high school and started doing a lot more research because I just love music. You know, I love the history of music.
Yeah.
If I could do something all day, I think it'd just be listening to music and playing guitar. So, if I didn't have any responsibilities.
So what about you, Sterling? With vocally speaking, how did that click?
So I've always been into music from like early ages. My dad's a guitar player. He used to gig with a band in California called Thorndire back in like early '90s. They had a couple highlights, like they played the Troubadour a couple times. my dad, when he went to record an album, he came out like right after Guns N' Roses left the studio, and it was like pretty cool. I was like, damn, you guys are recording there? But he plays guitar. I learned drums because he taught me how to play drums. He's a wicked guitar player, so I would always just be jamming with this like awesome guitar player when I was like 3 on the drums.
Yeah.
And then by the time I was 13, I was able to play like Rush, Dream Theater, Avenged Sevenfold, just anything I really wanted to. If I took enough time to just learn it, I was able to play it, and it was really fun. And
Yeah.
then I was like always into guitar and played guitar a little bit, knew power chords and, you know, a little bit of how to twang on it, but I got really frustrated and stopped playing it for a while. And then I got back into it when I was like 13. I started playing again, and then I like started learning like Randy Rhoads' stuff, and then I got sucked into the neoclassical stuff, and then now I'm like where I'm at now. I'm learning like Bach BVW 1000 fugue in G minor. Like I'm on the rails now, dude. It's fun.
I've been playing guitar for 30 years, and I have no idea what any of that shit just meant that you
Oh
said.
my god, dude! It's crazy.
That's how I feel.
It's crazy. It's like that stuff that you play that like makes your mind like tweak because it's like 3-string chords that are very simple, but there's so many of them. But other than that, I was singing in like my 6th grade choir, and my choir teacher one day was like, you know, Sterling, you should audition for this this solo, and I think the solo was like Silent Night or something like that. And I found out I was really good at singing, and I was like, oh shit, okay. And then I like kept on with that, and then I got to high school, and I was just like, man, choir sucks. These people in here suck. You know, like they just didn't put in the work, and they weren't like as hungry for the success in their like craft as I was, and I was not really I didn't feel very a part of it.
They were hungry for the scholarship.
I stopped. Yeah, they were hungry for Broadway, and that just wasn't me. So I stopped taking choir after I was a like freshman, and I started listening to more Ozzy and more like Bon Jovi, Rat, Dokken, Motley Crue, Judas Priest, Van Halen. Those were definitely the pillar bands that like got me into the music. And I honestly like before that I was listening to the Beatles, Supertramp, and just a bunch of 60s, 70s stuff because I was jamming with these guys that were all like 70s dudes, and it just wasn't enough aggression for me. And they didn't also have that drive. I was like, man, I want to do something else. So I ran into this guy at a store, and his son was like getting drum lessons or something, and he was like, you know, my son plays guitar. You guys should start a band. He's got a friend. So we started a Metallica tribute band called Prowler. And I was like having a really good time. We used to do Blackened, and we do all the like fun songs. And then we never got past playing just Metallica though. And I really wanted to like be a band, like be original. I've always wanted that. And they weren't willing to do that. So then I got into this like other band for a while. But they also were kind of just like into older music, but not into writing music like that. Like when you said that our music takes you back to like 88 or 89 or something, like their music didn't do that. It didn't encapsulate that time frame. So I was like very unsatisfied. And eventually when I found these guys' music, it was Let Me that I heard first. I was in the car about to go to a Journey concert, and I went, fuck, these guys are good. Why am I in this car with this band when they're that good? And that's exactly what I want. And that's honestly why I kind of like kept in touch with Alan. Honestly, I would like write a bunch of riffs and stuff, and I would just send them to Alan and be like, check this out, dude. And then eventually Alan like called me one day, and he's like, so Nate's out of the band. I was like, what, bro? Let's go. Oh, I'm so sorry. You know, like it was bitter.
Yeah.
You know, like they lost the singer, but this is my opportunity that I had been waiting for. So like when I finally got in the band, it was a lot of fun because before I was in this band, I was spending a lot of time with Chris and his brother jamming and really like finding my roots, just being metal, getting that metal attitude, you know, just not taking shit from anyone. And it's true because before that, the other band was so drama and petty and stuff, and I didn't want to be like that.
Well,
so
the music, it's like the music, it just drawed them, and I feel like that's something that
the power, the superior attitude.
So when it comes to that kind of stuff, though, because obviously it's 2024, it's not 1984. What is for a band like you guys? What is the scene like like where your local scene, are there other
so,
bands?
well-
Like what's it like?
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of really good bands that we love watching in the area, and
There's
the-
actually younger people that like this kind of stuff.
yeah, it's
We
good.
have a really good community of like people that come out to the shows and stuff for sure. It's a lot of more modern metal though, like modern and like you ever heard of Snot before?
Yeah.
You might have.
Yeah, so like there's a band from around here called Catharsis. They're kind of like Snot and a little bit of like Dream Theater and stuff. They're like really technical, and there's another band, they're called Cyanide. They're like they're kind of like 90s like metal, like Pantera, like when they got really heavy. It's kind of getting more hardcore nowadays.
But it's
But
young.
they're
yeah,
cool.
no, it's
Yeah.
Not like 8-9 years ago when you did
Right.
a show and there'd be nobody there.
yeah,
Well,
it's-
this was old folks going to see like whatever, Dokken or Warrant that comes to town, Now it's
Right.
actually a lot of young people doing stuff, and it's all over the map genre wise.
yeah. It's really cool because we kind of I feel like we're the only band doing our kind of sound. There's like some other bands doing a little bit more of like
Aerosmith kind of.
Like the more like corny side of me.
not even
Yeah.
Like the Poison Guns and Roses kind of more generic. You know what I mean?
It's not even that. It's just like they're just doing a different. I mean, and that's like I think that's a separate thing from like the doc and like that. I mean,
Couple different roads.
they both have their their good ups, and they have their best stuff and all that, and their good stuff.
Well, I feel like those bands you're naming, if you're Guns N' Roses and bands like that, they feel like they're more rooted in blues riffs, and then you've got your Rat and Dokken and bands like that. They felt like they had metal riffs, but they were still melodic. So
And
Which is pretty sweet.
that's what I'm trying. I guess that's perfect. A good way to put it, because there's nobody really doing that kind of stuff in our area. Even if there, at least I don't know of any, but that's I think why it kind of stands out a little bit more when we do it, because I don't want to sound like, I'm not trying to sound like like an ass or something like I'm up here or whatever, but that's not what I'm trying to do.
It's just the songwriting is different.
No, it's
the way
not
you
even-
play guitar is different than a lot of those people, right?
We're just doing, like you said, it's very specific. It's like the Rat and Doc. It's like I don't think. I mean, I think obviously I feel like everybody deserves to give themselves some credit. I don't think I'm like a phenomenal virtuoso, but I feel like I'm doing something that I feel like a lot of people are looking past in the way where it's
most
like,
people do look past
because it's like a lot of people nowadays, or at least a couple of years ago, we're doing a lot of let's focus on like the very progressive fast playing, and I feel like we're kind of taking it a step back, but like bringing out the highlights in that kind of sound. Like I feel like you don't compare like Warren DeMartini to like who's like a really popular like Misha Moore or Tosin Abasi, because they're like completely
more
different
vocal and guitar oriented, like back in the 80s, rather than like drum and just like muting riff type shit.
yeah.
But I'm going back to what we originally were on. I think our scene is, we have a good crowd, or like we don't have a scene that really provides this kind of music. There's not really any other band doing what we're doing, and I feel like that's what kind of gives us a crowd. But on top of that, we kind of built our audience and kind of built like a community for this kind of sound in our area, especially with like how I was saying, we did backyard parties. I invited all the people that I knew from like high school, or like I know people from college, because I think it was like I was in my freshman year of college by then. But getting people who don't listen to this music at all, that's kind of been our goal since the beginning. It's like, let's find people who don't know this at all, and everybody who knows the music knows this has been around forever, but like to some of these new ears, and like they come to the show and like, oh, I've never heard anything like this before. Because I feel like, with 70s rock and 90s rock, like, your Nirvanas and your, Aerosmith and AC/DC, like those bands really stuck through time and, made an impact. I feel like a lot of those 80s bands, like pop culture didn't like give them a chance, I feel like, and it just didn't really stick.
They you brushed to the side quick.
I feel like, like Van Halen really stuck. and you have a lot of those like new wave bands and stuff. But like a lot of the bands that we listen to, I feel like it's like, oh, the parents are listening to it still,
But mainstream kind of brushed it off,
Yeah, and I feel like what's really going
from Sweet Child of Mine, Talk Dirty to Me.
Yeah, but Guns, you had your bands that stuck around, but like you said, we're doing something a little bit more, separate from that. And I feel like when we get people who never, been to our shows or never really heard us out or never listened to our music, and they come and see us, it's like they're seeing something they've never seen before or heard before, and it's not because it's not a sound that's well known. I feel like a lot of people don't give it an opportunity, and once they do, especially our age, because like nobody really.
They haven't been exposed.
Yeah, I want to say because I don't want to like put any like bad vibe on it or anything. Like I don't want to like put shade on it.
You like it,
Yeah. It's like, so I feel like a lot of people haven't heard it, and I don't think it's not that they're not giving it a chance, but a lot of people haven't heard it. So when they come to our shows and we tell them it's like, oh, we're a hard rock band, oh, we're an old school metal band, like they don't. I guess they like know. And then we show them what we play our music for them, and they're like, oh, this is kind of like, oh, you guys got like, catchy choruses or like, catchy riffs, or like you guys are aiming for like a pop kind of oriented sound. I wouldn't want to say like pop, like, it has like those, like, what a pop song would have, it's got the catchy choruses.
Like mainstream hard rock.
Yeah. But like, it's got, the catchy choruses, you've got your melodic, parts to the song. And I wouldn't call our music pop music at all, but like, I feel like that's something that brings in people nowadays. It's like, oh, you have all these elements that some of the music I listen to now have, but you guys are a metal band. So it's like, oh, I want to try you guys out and see, how, I really like what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that we get a lot. It's like people, they hear, oh, you're a metal band, oh, so you're like, like Korn. And we're like, no, garbage. No. I mean, Korn's great. all those bands are great, whatever, right? But
they have the wrong impression because they haven't really been exposed to it. They just think, oh, metal, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, all these, and then it's like, there's a lot. There's a lot more to it,
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody needs, the gateway, and I really feel like the younger generation, I have a daughter who's 13, and the younger generation, they seem like there's not a whole lot of division between different eras of good music. So they'll kind of just listen to whatever sounds good. Sure. But I feel like with what you guys are talking about, with a lot of those lesser known, well, they were known at the time, but then they were kind of just brushed aside. It's like there was a weird point of a generation that were a little bit too late, and unfortunately everything got lumped into quote unquote hair metal. And so and then at that point I go, well, this band over here, they got some great hair, but they sound metal. This band over here, they write pop songs, which are also really great, and their hair is big too. I don't really see the connection besides the guitars and the hair is really it, but I think that we're getting past that now. I feel like it's gonna the good stuff's gonna start rising to the top again, I think.
Oh yeah, because like young people don't want to typically young people don't want to be listening to their parents' music. Like it's a lot cooler that it's young guys playing that stuff as opposed to old dudes. No offense to any of them, like those guys are badass. But from like somebody that knows nothing about it, like obviously. You know what I mean? Image-wise, it helps that these guys are young and they're playing such kick-ass stuff.
Yeah, you had so we actually found out about you because you interviewed Nemesis or Labyrinth. So you had either put them on spot. I don't remember, but I checked the video. I don't remember if I saw the ad, right, and I thought it was a really cool thing. And they're another example of what we're trying to talk about. It's like. They're young dudes doing a sound, sound that you don't really. I mean, thrash metal's been a thing, for a long time, but and that's one of those things that didn't stick around. I feel like, but there's a huge like attention going on. There's a lot of attention going on with those bands because they're kind of like it's like a new wave. I want to say a new wave because like young or not, whatever, right? But they're new wave, bringing, you know, a whole new audience to the genre. And I feel like there's a lot of attention on them because, you know, these bands, they're, you know, they haven't been around at all, and they're bringing a whole new life to the music that's kind of been, you know, under the radar. Because I mean,
yeah,
everything kind of comes back around, you know.
yeah, and
yeah. For bands like them, for somebody, because you know I'm in my mid-40s, and for bands like them, because I enjoy your Municipal Waste and all things like that are like the thrash bands that were early 2000s, but bands like that, and I'm assuming you guys, when I do get to see you guys live, the Labyrinth, and even you said Nemesis, even to a greater degree, I went to see them live, and it felt like I was at a show in 1985. And
That's
so,
cool.
and so there's a difference between a band that's just playing a type of music, because that's all well and good, but when it's not like you're doing cosplay, it's almost like you get to step into a portal that takes you to a different time, and it doesn't feel forced. It feels natural. Like these are, you know, 5 dudes who just love this kind of music, and it's real genuine. And so I think that's where we're getting, where it's like this new crop of bands that nothing has been tainted. It's literally just, we love this music and we're doing this. There's nobody's trying to fit into a genre. Everyone's just going towards what makes them tick or whatever. And so I think that's what's great about all the younger bands, is there's so much energy going on there.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that's going on with us. It's like we don't want to like throw ourselves under a specific label. We want to just say, you know, we're playing, I don't want to say old school metal, but we're kind of just saying, yeah, we're playing, you know, this kind of music, and because we're not, you know, forcing a sort of identity onto us, I feel like that's what makes us a little bit more broad, and you know, it's less, like you said, it's less forced. And I feel like a lot of those bands are doing the same thing. It's like they you can see all the influences,
Yeah.
but nothing, like you said, nothing's tainted. Nothing's like, oh, this is like a rip-off band or whatever. Everybody's got their own sound. Like, you know, I feel like when I hear like the intro to a Nemesis song, I know who it is. Like, and it's like cool, especially just because, you know, it's, I don't know, I'm kind of lost at words.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
It comes off real good, you know. It comes off like it's actual, like they're actually that way. They're not like trying hard to be like a certain band or do this and that, you know.
Yeah,
it's like you gotta play from the heart and the loins, you know.
Yeah, and a lot of those bands, I feel like they also, like, I watched a couple of the live shows. They tend to avoid covers, I think, for that reason. Like, with us, we haven't played a cover at one of our shows, I think, since like I don't know, like the summer. You know, it's been months. Summer of last year. But we've been doing that because we're like, you know, our music kind of has that sound. Why not just do what we're, you know, why not just showcase what we're doing? And, you know, if we were to cover, you know, I mean, unless we're playing at like, you know, one of those like Mike Tramp shows or like Trickster shows, like, oh, if we covered a Dawkins song, they would know. But like, why cover something like when we were playing? We just played a show where it was like a festival. Everybody there was kind of, they were either like, you know, from for other bands, or like they were there for us, and a lot of them don't really know our kind of music. So like, oh, if they're not gonna know the song that we're playing, let's say we play like Tooth and Nail by Dawkins, they're not gonna know it. So, you know, we might as well play something that they don't know already, and then they can look it up, and it's like, oh, this is, you know, it's a new band or whatever, right?
Yeah. No, I think that's great. Plus, you guys already have 2 entire albums. I mean, that's fast work for for putting out one album. That's like how they used to do it in the 70s, one album every year.
Yeah, I love writing. I'm writing all the time, and a lot of the songs, I think, is there a song?
He's got some sweet stuff coming.
He's telling you he's cooking.
Well,
we
but
something like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, I got like, I wrote like 3 songs these past 2 weeks, but like, I mean, the whatever, right? But like with I'd love to write, and for the first album, all of that material kind of just rooted from just me sitting in my room and writing songs, because it's not that I don't even know what I was gonna say, but it was Yeah, I love to write, and I feel like I just we always have this urge to get music out because we just have so much of it. And,
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads me to one of my last questions. I'm gonna wrap it up with a couple questions here. But so because you guys worked so quickly with 2 albums in a row and then already put out a single in 2024, like what are the plans for more recorded material, or is there anything in the works for the band? Doesn't necessarily have to be an album, but anything that's like cooking for you guys.
We have an album.
The pot's cooking.
We got another album.
The pot's cooking and it's gonna be good. That's all you gotta know.
We're playing a bunch of different states this summer too. So not wait, you're from Houston, right?
Yeah.
Not Texas, or maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll throw something there. But
eventually you'll come my way and I'll come see you guys. But yeah, it's
find us a promoter and an email, and that's all we need.
Come hang out with us, man.
I'm unfortunately I'm not quite that big enough yet where I have that kind of pull, but I do my best. I'm still working my way up here, but
we'll get there, like you said, man. Yeah. We'll get there eventually, you know. We'd love to play down there. You know, we talked to like Labyrinth and like those kind of bands, and you know, we'd love to all play a show together one day. But
I mean, Houston's got a good scene, so there'd be plenty of cool bands to play with. So
South's got some great stuff, and I wish it was easier to find bands like that up here, because it's like, there's a bunch of great bands in our scene. You know, all really good people, but like I feel like when we put each other on a bill, it's like, oh, you know, I just saw this band. And it's like the other band's like, you know, just doing amazing stuff. I mean, it's not we're both great music, right? But it's not completely different, and we're like we don't fit in here, and it's fun to, you know, play and jam with bands that we're friends with, because like they're all cool, and you know, we can have a good time afterwards and before, but we want to meet more bands that are doing the same kind of thing we are, and those are all in the South. So, you know, we want to get down there as soon as possible and just start playing around, you know, having a good time over there.
Well, I mean, if with the small reach of the stuff on my channel, if I reach any bands around here, like that would be really great to hook you guys up with bands around this area, or just somewhere else in the South. But the last question is kind of a fun one and I'm gonna I want all of you to answer, because I know that a couple of you have been very quiet, and that's okay. But
Alan's letting you know about his degree in yapology, bro. He's the yapologist.
I like to talk.
I think every band has somebody that really likes to talk, and that's good. Every band needs that. That's important.
That's our networking there. We hired him for that.
So the fun question is, you guys have played, you know, with some cool bands of the era that you're influenced by, but if you guys could each choose one band to go on tour with, doesn't even have to be an old band, could be a newer band too, but this bigger band asks you guys to go on tour, who would you all choose?
Christian, start.
Shotgun Messiah or Rat for sure.
Nice. Man, nobody talks about Shotgun Messiah anymore.
I think that Shotgun Messiah, like their self-titled, is like one of the greatest 80s albums just of all time.
They're great.
But
it's the Swedish people. We got some crazy blood.
Harry Cody's playing is like ungodly. And like there's not many other players that like even come close to his style, because it's like the perfect mix of like neoclassical and just like 80s like coolness, you know?
Yeah. Plus, that's the only album that has that original vocalist. I don't even know what happened to that guy that was on that first.
I don't know if he got booted or left.
Right? I don't know.
Tim Skold.
I mean, all I know is that I felt bad for them because they moved to America to make it big, and then that album kind of flopped. But you know, there's apparently they're still at it. All right, okay, those are great answers. Let's keep it rolling.
If I were to, I think Dokken, obviously.
I feel like he's gonna steal my answers right now. I feel it. I know what he's
I'm gonna take a second.
Well, you just said Dokken.
Well, Dokken. Well, he said 2 bands.
Did you say 2?
Oh,
however many you want to name, doesn't matter.
All of them.
Let's stop at 2. Let's say 2 is the max.
Judas Priest.
Oh, good one.
I love Judas Priest. So that's like my second favorite band right now.
I think my ideal lineup, like this would be the show of my life: Wasp, Rat, Dokken.
Oh, you
All of us on the same. I was just listening to Wasp today, bro. Shut up. We literally have a song that rips like one part of their riff off like exact, and he's like, "Yeah, we don't even look."
I know. I love Wasp.
I know.
Who doesn't listen?
I do. I used to not listen to the CD I had because I used to have this car that had like terrible sound system, and his voice used to be so shrill and like.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. But
Yeah.
no, I love his voice now in my new car. It's fucking awesome. That's why I was listening to it today. I was like, shit. I think my favorite from today was probably Tormentor. That's a good song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Blackie appreciates your new car, I guess. He's.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate that.
All right.
I am gonna say Firehouse
Bruh.
because they're a personal favorite of mine. Everyone in this band, let this be known, hates on Firehouse.
I their first album in my car
Except
all the
Chris.
time, dude.
Chris
I
is the
like-
Firehouse
I've
OG.
never even
I
listened
like
to it.
I like my house. I learned how to play Love of a Lifetime like 9th grade for a girl. That's I love that song.
That's fire though.
I've never listened to him. I still haven't. I was
So
thinking about listening to him. So.
I have to admit, like, the Love of a Lifetime is the only song I think I know by Firehouse because they were not on my radar. I don't know if you guys see it, but I do a podcast with this guy Eddie Sparks, and he's into a lot of that stuff. And so little by little, he gets us to cover these bands, and I end up becoming a fan. So it's a matter of time before we get there.
Right?
Oh yeah.
What was the other?
Continue.
Other bands, I'm gonna say Rough Cut. I've been.
I
Rough
love
Cut
Rough
because-
Cut. I put him on.
No, you didn't.
I put Christian on.
You didn't. Yes, you did. Yeah, I'm
I
thinking
put
of a
Christian
different
on.
song.
He put.
Bro's got to have the credit. I can't have an original
Yeah.
answer.
Like,
Yeah,
come
you
on.
can't.
I put you on.
You guys literally sound like me and my friends when I was in high school. Only we were doing this over death metal bands, so we were all like, I got to decide first.
Do you listen to Celtic Frost ever?
Yeah, I like some of the 80s stuff, but I also really enjoy the album that everybody hates.
I do too.
Oh.
Cherry, whatever. Cherry
Yeah.
Lake or Cross Lake.
Cherry Orchard was the name of the song. What was the name of the album?
Yeah, something like that.
I listened to the one that it's the one where he's got the little guy in his hand. He's like plucking on a little gray dude. I listen to that. Awesome.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
listen to that in the gym, bro. It's really good. Donovan Megiddo,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's called. That's my favorite
Mhm.
song out there. It's cool.
Chris, you can go now.
For me, I think opening for the Scorpions would be sweet.
Oh, we
Or,
forgot Scorpions, bro.
Triumph would be cool too. Triumph.
Oh, yeah.
Hell, dude, that'd be cool.
I love
Oh.
Triumph. Gilmore, dude. Gilmore is such a great drummer. He's one of my favorites.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, all great. And you guys name, some of those more known bands and then some lesser known bands, and it just opens up my brain to like, yeah, there are all these great bands from that era, and a good number of them nobody talks about most of the time.
We listen to like Leatherwolf, Shark Island, dude.
Banshee. If you don't listen to
Black and
Banshee,
Blue,
dude.
Do you know
Rock
Stone
Candy.
Fury? Stone Fury's great.
Stone Fury,
Yeah.
the singer from Kingdom Come,
yeah.
before Kingdom Come, Stone Fury.
Yeah.
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 That-
King
yeah.
Cobra.
Oh yeah, King Cobra. Dude, they got Carmen A. Piece on the drums for that, bro. He's
Yeah.
so good, dude.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, all killer music, but the good thing is that you guys are here bringing similar vibes now with newer
Yeah.
shit,
Someone's
which is,
gotta do it.
but yeah, exactly. Don't
gotta do it.
be afraid to say that kind of shit because there's not a lot of bands doing it, so you guys can say that. Somebody's got to do it.
That's true.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks you guys for so much for being here and chatting with me. And keep me in the loop when you got new stuff because I do the old head radio. It's online radio and it's 24/7. And I do radio shows. I do a new one once a month because it takes a lot of time for me to put them together. But the first one I played Out of Touch on that show.
Oh,
And,
right on.
And then and so if you guys got new stuff, send it my way, because I'm all about spreading the word on you guys, because I think your band's great. So with that, I hope you all have a great night. Thanks for being here. Anybody have any parting words for whatever audience is watching?
Be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout.
Yep.
We might be coming nearby, and
Be vigilant.
yeah,
Oh,
watch
like
out
that.
for straight.
What? Don't talk.
I don't know, yeah, no. Keep an eye.
All right, great. All right, cool. Everybody, be vigilant. All right, you guys take care. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Have a good
Later.
one.
See ya.
All right, good night.